And what's going on, guys? Alex here, and today I'd like to talk to you about such thing as a healthy lifestyle and why, the reasons behind the healthy lifestyle and why it is actually much harder than it looks like. The reasons, to be honest, are pretty much obvious, but the thing is that why I have thought about it. The thing is because right now healthy lifestyle and maintaining healthy lifestyle is quite a trend nowadays. And I have taken a nutrition course last semester, and that was very informative, because I haven't known lots of facts about nutrition and facts about products. The most obvious facts, which for some people may seem very obvious, but I haven't known about them for the whole my life. So the nutrition course was one of the aspects why I am talking about it right now, and why I decided to try to maintain healthy lifestyle. Next thing is that right now I spend much more time doing sports than I was doing that before. I am improving this part of my life, and I try to improve the other parts of my life as well. So the problem here is that when I'm trying to improve one part, I'm trying to improve the other one as well, and so it takes one by one, and by that I can improve the whole my life altogether. And as you can of course know, because of depressive episodes, it's very hard to do very such obvious things as just get out of bed. And so sports really helps. I don't know how it works. I cannot talk to you about the metabolism, the receptors which are activated, because I don't know about it. But the only thing that I know that it works and it helps me. So that's one of the things. And last but not least is that I started to count calories on a daily basis, simply because I want to know how much I consume in terms of food, and is it a useful type of food or is it not? Because by the end of the day you can think that, you know, I'm like eating pretty healthy, but you have forgotten that you have eaten something very unhealthy, some junk food. So that's obviously the things which I'm trying to maintain in terms of healthy diet, of course. In terms of healthy diet, why it is so difficult? For me personally, I can describe several reasons. One of these reasons is that right now it's too many things which you can do simply to put it in the microwave, and in a couple of minutes the breakfast, supper, lunch is done. And so because of these useless food, because of this junk food which is very cheap, that's why we are consuming the stuff which is not useful for our bodies. So that's one of the reasons. The next reason which I can see why healthy diet is not sticking is because we are trying to implement several habits at once. And what I mean by that I mean that we are trying to improve our sports life, to count calories, to eat healthy, to meditate 3 times a day, to run 20 kilometers before breakfast, and so on and so on. And so by doing that, by trying to do everything at once, we cannot do even one simple thing. And that's one of the reasons, and it can be applied also to the rest of the list which I'm going to talk next. And the next point in my maintaining healthy lifestyle is trying to be active. Because right now we have like fitness trackers, smartwatches, trackers on phone, and still theoretically it can benefit us a lot, but in practice we skip, simply postpone these notifications from Apple Watch, from Galaxy Watch, where they're telling like try to stretch or try to have a walk or something like that. And because of the most part of my day is sitting, so lectures, practical classes, studying, filming videos, editing videos, editing podcasts, streaming, and so on. That's why I'm trying right now to be more active than usually, simply because I find that I can benefit from that, because right now I'm overweight, not very drastically, but still I am overweight if we're counting BMIs or body mass index. And that's why I'm trying to be active more. So I try to walk more, I try to stand during studying. That's why I have a standing desk. That was one of the reasons why I got the standing desk, because I was trying to be at least active when I'm studying and when I don't have any choice other than be at place, because it's very difficult to study when you are walking or running somewhere. So, and the next habit which I'm trying to implement is unhealthy habits and get rid of them. For me personally, it's vaping, and before that it was smoking. So, if you don't know Eastern Europe has the highest rates of smokers, and my problem and it's a problem with which I am constantly fighting. As I said before, I was smoking before, like a couple of years, 3 I suppose, and then I have quitted smoking and turned into vaping. So right now I'm vaping and I'm vaping very much. And I find two problems with this activity. The first one is health loss, which is of course bad, but you cannot see the direct impact on your health. And the second problem is, which you can see decrease, is money loss, because you are losing money with every single bottle of liquid which you are buying. And so that also is one of the problems which I'm trying to get rid of, because of the health and of course because of the money, because as I have counted, I am spending approximately 50-60 euros per month simply on vaping. So I'm spending money on nothing, on the thing which actually slowly kills me. Like, okay, self-destruction, but not in that case. So anyway, the next thing which I'm trying to get rid of is unhealthy habits part 2, and that's stress eating. And the stress eating is because we have lots of stress as a people right now, because that's not easy to live in the 21st century when everything is very fast, and when we should adapt like every single second of every single day. And that's why lots of stress, and that's why we have to cope with it. And so someone copes with it using alcohol, using drugs. I cope with it simply with stress eating. And that's a very big problem for me personally. As I said before, I'm trying to eat healthy and to count calories. And I'm counting calories, and right now I can control myself, because that's the first habit which I'm trying to implement for me personally. Because all of the rest I will try to implement the week after week, but we will talk about it a little bit later. Next is the habit of regular medical appointments. And the habit of regular medical appointments may seem to you like not so obvious, and why should you do that? But the thing is that we are visiting doctors or other medical professionals only when everything is really bad. And it seems like we don't have enough time. It seems like we don't have enough money. And we are trying to do self-treatment. For example, the psychiatric patients, the depressive patients, like coping with alcohol or drug abuse. And that's not okay. That's why I find that every single year I need to go through the main specialists just in order for them to tell if everything is okay with me, and to catch some diseases at an early stage so it can be treatable, because such diseases as, for example, cancer, you can see that something is not okay, you can see the symptoms of the disease only when everything is very bad. For example, when the tumor is really big, or when you have metastasis. So, and when it's obviously is not treatable. So that's one of the things which I'm trying to implement. Next thing, and it also you can say that that point already was, but I'll try to describe you why it's not why it wasn't mentioned before. So the point is active lifestyle and doing sports. Same as before, it seems like we don't have enough time and we don't have enough money, or I'm too tired to move. And here I can tell you a Norwegian example about weather. Like, it's raining outside, we won't go for a walk. Like, there is no bad weather, there are bad clothing. So here's you can apply the same idea, that there is no like I'm too tired. Like, you are doing not correct activities in order not to be tired. That's why I'm trying to do sports more regularly, try to visit gym at least 2-3 times a week, at least. And of course, doing sports helps with my mental health, helps me personally. That's why I try to implement sports and the different types of activities into my life more and more active. And there is no need to be an athlete if you are talking about doing sports. A simple walk in the woods, like camping, running, yoga, etc., it will be more than enough for lots of people. Simply be active, like to be active, to do some sports, and to have a rest while you, I don't know, like walking. Like it's very possible. For example, with my friend, I'm walking like very long distances, like 20 kilometers per day, and simply we're talking during this activity. We're talking, we are discussing some topics which bothers us, and that's how we do, like, that's how we hit two birds with one stone. Like, we're walking and we're discussing something. Like, we could do that also somewhere in the bar, at some restaurant, but that would be like we will be sitting and the time will be spent not so productively in terms of activity. We won't be doing anything at all, but while we are walking, we can do the same things, and it actually saves us money and saves us a little bit of health. So, and now I'd like to talk to you about the second part of the topic of maintaining healthy lifestyle, and the topic is why I struggle with applying all of the list below. So the problem is that it's very hard to change old habits. That's why I want to read such a great book as Atomic Habits, which really talks about habits as it is, so how to implement new habits, how to get rid of the bad ones, and so on. So it's very hard to change it, but it's possible, it's very possible. And I remember that this book was really good, and using one of the principles of this book, I have actually visited gym more often than it was before. So because before that, by going to the gym, it was like 1 time a week in the best case scenario, and right now it's something about 2-3 times a week, so it's a very big difference. Next thing is that the choice is not obvious. The choice is not obvious if we are talking about doing something, about new activities, some type of. By that I actually mean that there is a lot of friction in order for you to do something. Let me make an example. I have talked about it a lot, but still. For example, you are having like a tablet with open Netflix on your bedside table. And so when you're getting to bed, the thing which you will do, you will watch Netflix because the tablet is right here, because the friction to watch Netflix is less than friction to read a book, when the book is located somewhere in the drawer. Like, and that's why, like, by changing the friction, like making more friction to some habits which you want to lose, or making more friction, less friction to the habits which you'd like to apply. By simply doing that, you can improve your life, and you can make new good habits which you really like to have. For example, I put my ebook reader into the pocket of my jacket, so I would read during commute instead of watching YouTube, because watching YouTube is very easy, because it's right, the phone is right in my pocket. But reading the book is much harder, because in most cases my ebook reader is somewhere in my backpack, and so that's why it's much harder to go get there. It's much easier to get out your phone and to watch some YouTube. The same is with hiding my vape. So I have hidden my vape into the drawer so I wouldn't see it, and so it would take me more thoughts and more energy to make the process active in order to get it and in order to have a smoke. So that's how I'm trying to implement my good habits and get rid of the bad ones. Also, the thing which I have talked before is trying to implement several habits at once. So by that I mean that, as you have understood from the list below, is that I was trying to implement lots of habits at once. And lots of us are, actually, because we're thinking something like, I'm trying to improve this part of my life, so why wouldn't I improve the other things of my life as well? So like, why wouldn't I do that at the same time? And so by doing that, we actually have a lot of problems, because we cannot implement even a single one. That's why I suppose that the tiny steps in the right direction is much better than one huge step forward and 3 steps backwards. So that's why implementing only one habit at a time. For me personally, I will try to implement one habit per week, but then if I will see that it is not working the way I would, then I will implement one habit per 1 month. I know it will take much more time, but if it will work, it will be much better than I already have right now. So the next thing is real lack of motivation to change something. I have to ensure myself that these changes is actually the things which I need to change in my life, and most people actually think that these changes, they don't need them, because taking responsibility for your actions is actually really hard, and it feels like you take a lot of risk by changing something. And or the mindset is like, don't fix it if it is not broken. So it's something like, when I will have like lung cancer, then I will quit smoking, something similar. So I make myself responsible for my words through this podcast, through my YouTube channel, and because both my podcast and YouTube channel actually shows my real life and not best version of myself. And so in order to improve myself in the media sphere, I need to improve my life IRL, so in real life. That's why I find that making myself responsible, by the way, it's actually one of the things from the James Clear book, The Atomic Habits, which I highly recommend. And that's why I'm making myself responsible in front of lots of people, and that's why I hope this will work. And next topic is... the next point is that many people think that there is a real lack of time and real lack of money. For example, being a student, like you have very little money, very little time, because I personally, I have part-time job, I have podcast to manage, YouTube channel to manage, and so strange things is that the more responsibilities I have, the more free time I have as well, because any action tends to occupy all of the time which you can spend doing it. For example, my assignment can be done with the same grade in 2 hours and in the 2 weeks, because I can spend as much time and I can make the work more concentrated, because I can concentrate on the assignment on these 2 hours. And that's why I'm having podcast, YouTube channel and part-time job, and also I'm a full-time student, and I can still manage to have a really adequate grades, really good grades, because before my grades were much worse than, for example, this semester when I resuscitated my YouTube channel and podcast, simply because I have much more things to do and I have much more free time to do, because my work right now is more concentrated, and that's why the mindset of we don't have enough time or we don't have enough money, it's not correct, because if you're talking about time, as I said before, you can always find time. If we're talking about you don't have enough money, then you can make something in your life in order to get more money for your something ability, or you can rethink all of the things which you suppose you need money for, and do it with the things which you already have. For example, the mindset of lots of people who are trying to start a podcast are that I need that fancy microphone, I need that fancy design, that fancy website. Like, no, you don't need that. As you can understand from the ad on Anchor on Spotify, is that Anchor, actually the only thing you need is like a phone, the smartphone, and that's everything you need, because you can add it there, you can record using this application, you can manage your account, and so on and so on. So there are simple options which don't actually require you to have lots of money. The same goes with the YouTube. If you have a phone, any smartphone, like, that's already enough, because what really matters is not the picture, the thing which really matters is the content, the idea which you are trying to show to the world. So that's why the thing that I don't have not enough time and money are not like relevant, because you cannot have enough money for the thing which is in your mind as a perfect idea, but start with the things which you already have, because I have done that as well, because my first episodes were not actually recorded on this microphone, and my first episodes were recorded using my smartphone, and only after, I suppose, like fourth or fifth episode, the recordings were on my microphone. There are not so much difference heard because of the post-production, but still you cannot hear the difference, but I know that I have used another microphone. So that's why the most important thing is idea, because my content was pretty crappy at the time, but right now I feel that it's much better than it was before, and that's why I see like more spikes in the views. I see more spikes in the hearings of my podcast, more followers on YouTube, and so on. That's why that's not a really good argument. And so, last topic for the day. The last topic for the day is how I'm planning to implement all of this list, which I have mentioned to you, in my life. So summarizing all of what I said before, start small, like implement one habit a week or one habit a month, depending on how well will it go. Next thing is trying to take responsibility. So I'm trying to take my responsibility using YouTube, podcast, and my friends, because my friends know that I'm trying to implement these healthy habits, and my YouTube subscribers and podcast listeners also know that I'm trying to implement these habits. Next thing is to hear to my inner voice and not simply follow the cravings. Right here, I mean smoking and stress eating, like hearing your inner voice, like do you really want to do that, or this is the thing which you are doing automatically because of some conditions outside, like you're at the bus station and that's why you'd like to go for a smoke. That's one of the examples. So making all of the actions which depends make the things depend on your conscience and not unconscious. I hope that will be understandable. And the next thing is not to push myself really hard when there is no real need in it. So because I have understood that you can push yourself really hard, but sometime or another you can broke. And that's why I suppose that if I want success in one of the habits, I won't be very unhappy, and the thing which I will do, I will say, okay, I will try it somewhere, somewhere. I will try something else. I will try this habit which I try to implement, and when I failed, someone in the future. And that's it. So thank you for being here with me. 5 stars and likes will be very much appreciated. Take care and see you in a week.